Thanks for making some time for me. I just wanted to, first of all, say congratulations. You won a big four-star Grand Prix last week in Valkenswaard. And I thought it would be helpful for you to share with us, what did that mean for you, winning your first four-star? And also, what do you believe made this happen? There's obviously so much that needs to come together, but what made the difference for you?
Thank you very much, first of all. I'm really, really happy with my first four-star Grand Prix win. Obviously, it means a lot for me. I've been working for so long, really hard all these years, and it's really nice to get rewarded with such an amazing Grand Prix win, especially on my horse Launa that I've had for such a long time. I mean, I have a partnership with her for over 7 years, so it was very, very special that we could achieve this result together as a team. I think what really made a big difference for me, like in the coming weeks leading up to that Grand Prix in Valkenswaard, is I tried to shift my mindset in a way of meaning not being so stuck in my head and overthinking things, but rather feeling what's required in every specific moment. That for me it was a game changer, because I'm a perfectionist and I tend to overthink a lot of things, which I think a lot of people can relate. And sometimes you want to do so good and you start overanalyzing too many things, and there's too much information and you just cannot focus on what you have to do in the moment. So instead, slowing it down and stepping out of your head and just trying to feel what's there for a moment and trying to feel what's required and just trust yourself that you know that you're doing the right thing, that your preparation has been enough, that your work has been enough, that your horse feels good enough. Just the trust in yourself and your horse, I think that's what made a huge difference.
Yeah, beautiful. I agree. I think a lot of people can relate. A lot of the clients I work with, and me included, are massive perfectionists. Now, obviously, you've known probably for years already, right, that overthinking is not helpful. But then the question is how, what's that process like? And we've been working on that quite a while. Like, overthinking doesn't work, but when there is an important event, part of you wants to grasp it all, memorize it all, do really well, and you feel like you need to do more, right? And that often leads to overthinking. So what made the difference for you this time to say no to that and instead choose to really trust? What was that like for you?
Well, I've had a show a few weeks prior to Valkenswaard where I also took plenty of horses, and I didn't have a good show. I didn't have a nice show. I didn't enjoy it because I had a lot of horses. There was a lot of information. I was trying too hard to do well with each and every horse, and there was too much going on, and I couldn't really come to the essence of the story. That's why I'm here. It's because I love to do what I'm doing. I've been doing this my whole life. I put the work in it to really trust that you are on the right track and that you are doing the work and that you just focus on the process rather than your result. I think that was a very important place that I was in, and then I said, okay, no, enough of that. I didn't enjoy it at all. I want to enjoy it. I want to know that I can trust myself. I can trust my horses, really feel what's required in the moment. And yeah, I just wasn't as strict for myself as I usually am, because I like to also beat myself up when I'm not doing what I expect myself to do, which is already a wrong mindset. But yeah, I like to be hard enough on myself, which is not helpful at all. So I just took a step back and I slowed it down, and I just let things happen. And if they happen a certain way, that's okay. And it doesn't help to be strict for yourself, and to just keep enjoying is what's really, really important.
Yeah. I think that's really so important to hear, that actually it was a difficult show that got you to really connect enough or commit enough to saying, I'm really done with doing it the old way, and really saying, okay, not that anymore. I'm going to choose to trust, because that's how I want to be at the show. I want to choose to really remember to enjoy and to learn that is enough. So I think it's really helpful to hear for those who've having a rough time or having a tough show, that as long as you take something away from that in terms of, I'm really not going to do this anymore, instead I'm going to do this, it can actually lead to something very powerful, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. Not this, but that is very important.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
very important mindset. And yeah, it's hard because you want to stay in the same pattern because it's comfortable for you somehow, but if it's not working for you or if it's not helpful, not that, but instead this, and focus on, just shift the focus there.
That's it. And sometimes we need enough commitment to really, really commit to that and then trust it.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. Now, there was another thing you mentioned on Tuesday in our session after this win. You told me that for the very first time, because you just came back from holiday, you decided to write down your goals instead of just thinking about them. Can you tell us about that process and if you believe that made a difference for you?
Yeah, definitely. So after I had the difficult show where I had a session with you afterwards, and we obviously established that I was being too much in my head, that I have to focus more on feeling what's required, trust myself, trust the process. So that gave me, again, a little bit of a wake-up call. And then I was a week on holiday, and most of the times if you go on holiday and you relax, getting back into it is sometimes a little bit more difficult because you're a little bit in the relaxed, take it easy mode. But obviously you want to go to a show and you want to be ready and you want to perform at your best. So I actually started writing my goals down at the beginning of the week before Valkenswaard. With each horse that I was bringing, I wrote my goals down for that specific horse. So for each horse, I wrote down a different goal. And reading it over a couple times before the show, and then once the show starts, you let go of the goals. They're obviously still there in your subconscious, but you let it go, and then you focus on the process and doing the work. And yeah, I feel like that gave me this extra little bit of motivation, and that I knew I was doing the right thing, and I trusted myself, and it worked out well for me. So.
It sure did. And ironically, or maybe it wasn't irony or coincidence, it was actually because you did what you did. Even the commentator, right after, during the prize giving, mentioned exactly what you had written down in your goals.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, that was quite crazy actually. I wrote down my goals for La Una, my mare that I won the Grand Prix on. I wrote down that I wanted to jump a clear round in the Grand Prix, and that I have to trust me, her, our partnership together, that we know each other inside out, and that we know how to do it, and that it's right there. We're knocking at the door. So I actually wrote down that exactly, that we know each other inside out. And then in the prize giving ceremony, the commentator said, this partnership, they've been together for 7 years and they know each other inside out. And that made me, I forgot about the goals in that moment when I was at the show, because I let them go. And then I was like, oh, that's actually literally what I wrote down on my paper, which was crazy. But
incredible, right?
Yeah.
And that's the power of clarity. And it is an interesting thing that happens when we actually write something down instead of keeping it in our head, is that you engage both parts of the right and the left hemisphere of the brain. So writing something down can actually make it even more embedded in your subconscious mind. And it's incredible how often you hear people say writing something down, and just maybe writing the same line down 1,000 times, or like Coco Gauff when she won Roland Garros, she wrote down that she wanted to be champion there, and there's so many stories like it. I actually sent you one afterwards, didn't I? And it's incredible how powerful just that tiny little shift from thinking it to writing it down, the importance it can have.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah, well done. What have you learned about yourself from this experience and victory?
I've learned about myself that I'm in the right place, and that I have to trust that I put the right amount of work in it, that I put the time in it, that I'm on the right path, on my right path. I think that's the most important thing I learned about myself, that I don't have to be so hard on myself, always, because that's a difficult one for me, to just appreciate in every moment that I know what is required, and trusting myself is the biggest lesson here.
Yeah, beautiful. And what have you learned about your horse Launa, or maybe your horses in general, from this experience?
Yeah, obviously they grow a huge amount when you give them the feeling that you trust them, you trust yourself, and you trust the partnership, that it's a teamwork more than you having to have all the trust or the horse having to have all the trust. It's really something that comes together from both sides. And if you project that towards them, they can feel it immediately, and they also will fight for you, and they will trust you in the ring, and it just feels so natural and easy, and it's just a really great feeling.
Yeah. This is actually a conversation I was just having with someone else about the ease when we connect on that level, when we communicate that, even just with thought, when you're riding a horse, like, I trust you.
Yeah.
And you really, you embed that, and you feel that.
Mm-hmm.
The ease of which the communication starts to flow, right?
Yeah.
It's just completely different, isn't it?
It's so different, and it makes it easier, and it brings you also back to having that connection with your horse, and the fact why you're doing this in the first place is because you love the horses, you have a passion for them, for the sport, you want to connect with them on a certain level, so it really brings everything together, and it just feels very, very nice.
I completely get that. Thanks for sharing this experience. I think it's really helpful for people to hear this and hear the work and the lessons you had to put in to get to this place. It doesn't just happen. But yeah, again, huge congrats.
Thank you very much.